Hello dear students, in this lesson we are going to talk about the negative numbers. So students, why do we need negative numbers? In general, we have been seeing questions based on positive numbers till now. But in our real life, we may also need negative numbers, or the numbers which are less than 0. For example, to represent extreme low temperature or depth below the sea level. So these are the certain situations where we might need negative numbers. So yes, we have to deal with positive as well as negative numbers in mathematics as well as in real life. So if you look at the number line that I have pasted here, 0 can be considered as a central number. So anything towards the right of the 0 is considered to be positive, and anything which is towards the left side of the 0 is considered to be a negative. And collectively, if we combine all the numbers together, we also call them integers. Okay, so whenever we say integers, they contain positive as well as negative numbers. And of course, 0 is neither positive nor negative. So whenever we consider positive or negative number, we always keep positive numbers towards the right of the 0 and negative numbers towards the left side of the 0. Okay. So how do we compare the numbers? Let's try to understand which number is bigger and which is smaller. So remember, negative numbers are always smaller than the positive numbers. For example, if we compare positive 2 and negative 2, just because negative 2 is located towards the left side of 2 on the number line, so definitely we can call that to be less than positive 2. So any number which has a face value equal but the sign is negative, that's always lesser. Not only that, if we compare any two numbers, let's say we have even 0 and we have negative 2, just because negative 2 in general, it looks like 2 might be greater than 0. If there is no sign in front of 2 means it's positive. So yes, definitely positive 2 is greater than 0. However, if we compare negative 2 and 0, just because negative 2 lies towards the left side of the 0, it's still lesser than 0. So 0 is greater than negative 2. Not only that, if you compare any two negative numbers, for example, negative 4 and negative 1, again, 4 looks greater than 1. But no students, if we compare negative number, just because negative 4 is located towards left side of negative 1, therefore negative 4 is lesser while negative 1 is greater. So based on this information, we can always write them in order if the numbers are given along with positive and negative signs. Okay, let's look at an example. Right now we need to list all these numbers in the ascending order. So first, it's better to mark them on the number line so that we can easily identify which number is located towards the left and right. Okay, so let me now quickly mark the numbers that we have here. We have positive 4. If there is no sign in front of a number, it's always considered to be positive. Okay, so it's positive 4 here. We have then negative 2. Negative 2 is somewhere here. Then we have 0. Okay, then after we have got positive 3. And then we have negative 3. Okay, let us mark them. And we have negative 5. And we have 1. That is positive 1 and positive 2. So just simple idea, students, the number which is located towards the leftmost position, that's the smallest number. So you must be confident that negative 5 is the least number or the smallest number here. So we can start writing from negative 5. Then after negative 5, we take negative 3. So we can even use this symbol. You must be familiar with that. Negative 5 is less than negative 3. Then negative 3 is less than negative 2. And then we have 0. So 0 is greater than negative 2. And so on. Whichever numbers were given to us, we can list them according to the given system or according to the given ascending order. Okay, so this is how we order any integer or positive negative numbers. Make sure number which is located towards left, it's always small. Okay students, now we'll learn how to perform addition and subtraction with these positive and negative numbers. Initially in this lesson we'll learn how to perform that operation using number line, but in the upcoming lessons we'll be doing them theoretically using arithmetic methods. But for now, let's continue with this number line method. So the simple idea is, whenever you have to perform addition, you need to move towards the right, and whenever you have to perform subtraction, you have to go backwards, means towards the left direction. Don't worry, it will be clear once we have examples. The simple process is, whenever we have two numbers, students, there exists a sign between them, right? Whether you have to perform addition or subtraction. For example, if you have 2 plus 3, that's not a big deal, right? But let's say I have 2 positive and I have to add a negative number to this 2. Let's say I have to add negative 3. Then there will be a trouble. So the very first thing, students, whenever there are two signs back to back like this, we need to write a resultant sign. So the rule is, whenever the two back to back signs are similar, we convert them as positive. And whenever there are dissimilar signs back to back, the resultant sign is negative. Just like in this situation, we have two opposite signs, plus and minus. So we keep a negative sign in the middle. Means the final symbol will be 2 minus 3. However, let's say we had 4 and then we have a negative sign and then we have another negative number. So this time we got the similar signs back to back. Just because there are two similar signs, according to the rule, the resultant sign will be a plus in the middle. So it's going to be 4 plus 8. So I can directly just write as a rule that if, let's say we have two positive symbols, there is no doubt about that, okay, that remain positive. Even if there are two negative symbols back to back, we still consider them as a plus sign. But if there exist opposite symbols like plus minus, they remain minus, or even it's minus plus, that still remains minus. Okay, so we'll continue with some examples, then it will be clear. However, you must have understood this. If there exists plus minus back to back, it remains minus at the end, right? If there exists minus minus back to back, that becomes plus. That's a very important thing. Okay, this is how we'll try to perform these addition and subtraction operations. Let's continue with a few examples, then it will be clear to you. Okay, how do we start? That back-to-back sign we'll take later, but initially how exactly do we start this addition or subtraction? So students, we have two numbers, 1 and 2. So the one thing you need to do here is that initial number, whatever is your first number, just circle or mark somewhere on the number line. Just because it's 1, just mark a circle or just a kind of any mark you can just draw. This is where I have my 1. Okay. After that, we have 2 and it's positive. So remember students, as we discussed earlier, whenever there is a plus, we have to move towards the right. And if there is a negative sign, we would have gone to the left direction. But right now, just because we have a plus 2, means right from the position we started, we have to move towards the right direction by 2 units. We jump by 2 units. And now we reach to the next number, which is 3. So we mark a number here, and that is our final answer. So the answer is 3, and that's a baby work. You must be knowing 1 plus 2 is just 3. But this is a new method we are learning right now, just by using number line. We started from the first number, 1. We then jumped by 2 numbers after that, and then we reached to the 3. So that's your answer. Okay, so the answer is 1 plus 2 equals 3. Let's continue with the next example. This time, students, the first number is 3. So the first thing we need to do is we need to mark a circle or just a simple thing here. We have just first number is 3. So we just marked that this is my first number. Now students, look at this. We have two back-to-back symbols. So the first thing we need to do here is to just convert them as a single sign in the middle. So as we discussed earlier, whenever there are two dissimilar signs, that remain negative in the middle. So we have 3 negative 4 for now. Okay, so the first number is 3, but now we need to move 4 units, but not towards the right direction just because it's negative. We need to move towards the opposite, towards the backward direction. So 1 unit, and then after we have to jump by 4 units in the same way. So let's continue from 3, and then this is my first, second, 1, 2, 3, and then 4. Now we land to negative 1. After starting from 3, we have moved 4 units towards the left direction. Now we just landed to negative 1. So yes, that's your answer. Now negative 1 is the final answer. We started from 3 and we had to go to negative 4, means towards the left direction we moved, and now we have got the number as negative 1. So yes, that's our answer. So 3 negative 4 gives me negative 1. Let's take one more example. This time we have negative 3 plus 4, means my first number is negative itself. So no problem, I have to mark at negative 3. So yes, this is my negative 3, and after that, students, we have got a positive number. That's not a big deal. We just need to move towards the right direction by 4 units. So we do in the same way. We just go towards the right direction. Why? Because it's positive. So we jump by 4 units. So 1, 2, 3, and then 4. And then we landed to positive 1. So that should be our answer. Okay, so we just got the answer here as positive 1. Let me write down. This is negative 3 plus 4 gives you positive 1. Okay. Alright, let's continue with the next example. It's 5 negative 3. So again, the first number is 5. We need to just draw a circle on 5 like this. And just because we have a negative here, negative 3 means subtraction, means we have to move towards the opposite direction, towards the left direction, right from the point where we started. So we have 5 and then we have negative 3. So we have to jump by 3 units, but in the backward or in the left direction. And once we have jumped by 3 units backwards, we landed to positive 2. So yes, that's the answer, as we have just reached to positive 2 now. So that should be our answer. So yes, as you guys must be knowing that 5 minus 3 is always positive 2. So yeah, 2 is the answer. And we can just highlight that as well, okay, in order to represent that my answer. Just a representation. You guys can use your own representation. This is how I prefer, okay. So this is the answer. Let's continue with one more example here. This time we have again 2 back-to-back symbols. We don't have to care about the first number here. It's remain as it is because there are no 2 symbols. However, as you notice in the middle, we have 2 negatives back to back, okay? And whenever this situation occurs, as we discussed, if there are similar symbols, they become positive. So we have plus here, and then we got this number, negative 7 and plus 5. So as usual, we need to follow the methods that we have to start from negative 7 this time. This is my initial point from where I have to start, and then after I have to jump by 5 units. So no problem, I can start right from negative 7 and I can jump by 5 units. Just because it's positive, we are moving towards the right direction. Had we got a negative here in the middle, we would have gone in the opposite, in the backward direction. But no problem, right now we are just moving towards the right direction, and now we landed to negative 2. So that should be our answer. Okay, I can just mark here, this is my negative 2, and I can highlight this position that this is where finally I have reached. So that is my answer. Negative 2 is my answer. Okay students, so this is how addition and subtraction on number line can be considered. Let's take one more example where rather than giving you an expression, they have given a verbal statement subtract 3 from negative 4. So the first thing we can do, students, is to write it as an expression. As you guys know how exactly we write this subtraction thing. Whatever is after the preposition from, we need to take away the number which is given in the front. Okay, so we have to subtract 3 from negative 4 means we need to take away 3 from negative 4. So we just write it as negative 4 is my original number, and we have to take away 3 from it. Alright, so this is how we start. So right from negative 4 we need to start right now. So my first number is what? It's negative 4. We started from negative 4, and as usual you have to move towards the left direction. Why? Because 3 is negative, so we have to jump towards the left direction by 3 units. It's my 1, 2 and 3. We landed to negative 7, and that is our answer then. Okay, so negative 7 is the answer. And yes, students, we can just highlight this position that my answer is negative 7. So I hope, students, it must be clear to you. We have discussed some graphical thing here for negative numbers. In the next lesson, we'll be doing some theoretical methods to perform addition, subtraction, as well as multiplication and division. So that's it in this lesson. See you in the next class. Till then, bye-bye.